All right, so in our last video, we discussed just some basic anatomy of the heart and then how blood travels through the right side of the heart, the right side being the dirty side, and getting blood to the lungs for that gas exchange. Okay, so let's discuss the left and then how blood travels once it leaves the left side. Okay, so our oxygen-rich blood, we are back on the left side. Okay, so we left with the pulmonary arteries, so hopefully you're kind of getting an idea of what's bringing us back toward the heart, and that would be our pulmonary veins. Okay, so we have two sets, okay, because we have a left and a right lung, so you will notice these here as well are pulmonary veins. Okay, so pulmonary veins here will carry blood into this first chamber on the left side. So we have a right atrium on the right and we have a left atrium on the left side. Again, left and right sides mirror, they just carry different types of blood. Okay, so left atrium on the left side, our valves, the doors to our chambers. Okay, these are called the bicuspid valve. Okay, you will also hear it called the mitral valve. So depending on who you're talking to, mitral valve or bicuspid valve. Okay, from there, blood will continue to travel into the left ventricle. Okay, it will make a U-turn going upward here. Okay, so it will make a U-turn and it will pass through, let me clean this up a little bit. Okay, so we have our valves here and these are called the aortic semilunar valve. Okay, and just to refresh, semilunar meaning half moon shape. Okay, so that is the semilunar valve. And then blood will pass up and out through our largest artery, which is called the aorta. Okay, and from here it will split up towards the neck and up towards the head. Okay, and then you will also have an inferior aorta, which I'm adding to the picture, which carries blood to the lower part of your body. Okay, so that is the left side of the heart. Okay, so just to give you an idea of the left side now. Okay, because your goal will be to trace blood through the entire system. Okay, so we have left the lungs, so inevitably we are continuing the process here. Okay, and we are traveling back with the pulmonary veins. Okay, we have the left atrium. We have the bicuspid valve or the mitral valve. Okay, and then we have the left ventricle. Okay, we have the aortic semilunar valve. And then we have the aorta. And then we are in the body. So we have the superior and inferior aorta. And then blood travels into the body. Okay, and then from here, we divide off into those blood vessels we talked about in video 1 in order to get blood into our organs and into our muscles and into our other body parts. Okay, so this is the heart in the nutshell. I like to start it on the right, and it runs through the right side, through the lungs, through the left side, and into the body. Okay, so again, once you've left, you'll kind of look like this. Okay, so you see all of the blood vessels, the reds being the arteries, the blues being the veins, carrying all of the oxygen in different directions. Okay, but to give you a better idea of what that looks like, I'm going to take you to this picture rather. Okay, so this gives kind of a simple idea of what blood vessels look like once they leave the heart. Okay, so we have left the heart here, so we are starting on this side, so we can say that this is the aorta. Okay, and from here, blood leaves into arteries. Okay, so arteries are large blood vessels that carry blood away from the heart. Okay, so the A in away and the A in artery should be your indicator as to what direction blood is going. Okay, but in order for gas exchange to take place, these arteries have to shrink down in order for them to get to the smaller parts of your body. Okay, so if you think back to when we talked about muscles and muscle spindles and muscle fibers, those are pretty tiny. Okay, so your large arteries, for instance, if you were to look down at your arm or your wrist and see your blood vessels, those aren't even tiny enough. So they have to get even smaller than that in order to get blood supply to those body parts. Okay, so you'll notice that they start to shrink down and they start to divide and get smaller. Okay, and when they do that, these are actually called arterioles. Okay, and these are nothing more than smaller arteries. Okay, and they continue to travel away and get smaller until they become capillaries. Okay, and you will notice that in this section is kind of a purple section, okay, because this is where gas exchange is taking place. Okay, so just like we talked about, if I kind of shrink it here for a moment, if you remember us talking about gas exchange taking place here in the lungs, okay, and we have CO2 is exchanged for oxygen. Here, okay, it changes. So for the gas exchange in the body, we have O2 exchanging for CO2. Okay, so this is kind of the other part of the circle. So once we have put that good oxygen into our blood vessel, into our body, and taken out the carbon dioxide and put it back into our blood vessels, okay, now that journey is to exhale the carbon dioxide out. Okay, so we now have carbon dioxide and we start in the smaller blood vessels going back towards that large vein. These smaller blood vessels are called venules. And these are smaller veins. Okay, and from there, the venules continue to get larger and larger until they get to your veins. Okay, and hopefully you remember the largest veins that we have, which are superior and inferior vena cava. Okay, and then from there, guess what? The cycle has started all over again. So we could take it back to the heart. Okay, and boom, we're in the superior vena cava. Okay, we're traveling through the right atrium, the tricuspid valve, the right ventricle, and the pulmonary semilunar valve through the pulmonary arteries, back into the lungs. The process starts all over again. So it is a continuous cycle of gas exchange for gas exchange, pushing blood to its destination and exchanging whatever gas is necessary for that section. Okay, so this is the circulatory system in a nutshell. In the next video, I'll talk more about how the heart is able to contract and relax and those electrical signals and how the cardiac cycle works and the different layers of muscle and all of that. But I just wanted to give you guys a better idea of just the general anatomy of the circulatory system so you could use it for your assignment for this week. Again, if you have any questions, I will see you in the Hangout.